Yes. Sorry guys for the delay. We just had a couple of Facebook technical issues, but we are now live and so excited to present to you Peter O from our product team. He's a product manager at Invoice2go and will be taking us through how to build a custom invoice template and manage your invoices better. So Peter, could you just tell us a little more about what you do at Invoice2go on the product team?
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks, Sylvie. So good morning, good afternoon. My name is Peter. So I've been a product manager here for the past 3 to 4 months. And our team deals with anything to do with the invoice creation and management workflow. And so recently we launched a few key changes to our product, whereby we've made it easier for our customers to create and manage the invoices. And hopefully at the end of today's demonstration, I can show you how that can be done.
Yeah, awesome. I'm really excited to see the changes. I'm sure everyone else is as well. If you do have any questions, then that's absolutely fine. Please just comment them in the comment box and we'll get to them at the end. So yeah, Peter, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure thing. So I guess in terms of a quick agenda for today, I'm going to first show you guys how I built like a custom invoice at Invoice2go. And then I want to take you guys through the document creation and management flow. So let me just first share my screen and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the, and so I thought the best way to demonstrate this is by showing you first a preview of what you can do with the invoice template builder. And then kind of walk you guys through the steps that I took to get to that outcome. So this is the typical invoice that you would kind of get when you first join the platform. This is all stock standard. So I've got my business details here on the invoice, my customer, and some labor and materials, and the total displayed down here. And if I go to jump to this invoice, this is the invoice that I've created. So you can see here, there's a few key differences. I've got my business logo, my details. I've got some additional fields about my business here. I've split apart my parts and my labor into separate rows. And then I've also got some additional information at the bottom or the footer of the invoice. So this is all changes that I've made at the invoice without using any custom tools. And just using the invoice template builder at Invoice2go. Now, this can be done on web by going to your settings. If I go to my settings for at the navigation bar and go to design, I can choose my logo. But the best part about all of this is that you can be done on your mobile phone. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share my mobile phone and show you how that can be done. So just bear with me. Having some technical difficulties.
All the technical difficulties this morning.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So, so going from the top, if I go to my navigation bar and click on settings, there should be a menu here called Customize Invoice, which I'll click on. And I'm going to take you guys through the steps of how I ended up with that custom invoice. So the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to choose my template. So we have a range of templates that you can choose from. But me, I'm more of a modern type of guy. So I'm going to choose this template here. Next, if I click on the logo at the bottom of the screen, I can add my business logo. Like so. Click on next. Great. So on the screen, I'm just going to adjust the details of my logo, make it a little bit bigger. And I think we're good to go from here. once I've done this, I'm going to select the color scheme. Now, the cool thing about this template builder is that we can suggest certain colors based on your company logo. So I can choose from all a different array of colors, but the product has suggested this color, which I'm going to go with and save that. And lastly, if I wanted to, I could add a banner and a watermark to my invoice, but I like to keep it simple, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. Next, in terms of the options, so depending on your business type, we can accommodate for all types of businesses. So, if you're selling products or you're in e-commerce, for example, you can add shipping details, and it's hard to see on the screen, but you can add shipping details to your invoice, as well as a shipping address. But because my particular business is in the trades and services industry, I'm going to turn this off. I also want to add some more information about how my customers can contact me. So I'm going to create some custom labels on my invoice. So the first one I'm going to create is the support email address. So add in .com.au. Yeah, save this. And then I also want to add a phone number that my customers can contact me on. So let's say, for example, I've got a different head office number to my mobile number. I can go ahead and add this in. And save that. And now if I preview the invoice, you can see that those details have made its way to the top of the invoice. It's pretty neat.
Awesome.
Cool. And the next, I'm going to go ahead and customize, I guess, like the content of the invoice now. So depending on what I require. So again, if you're in, well, it's a little bit zoomed in. If you're in e-commerce or you sell specific products and services, you can add a code column or a product SKU column, which I've done. I don't like to display the quantity and rate because I'm giving mostly services. The quantity field is not relevant to my business model, so I'm going to turn that off. And that's a little bit zoomed in. There we go. If I wanted to, I could display the tax column as well, but I'll leave this out. But something that is important to me is that I like to split apart the line items for the cost of labor and the cost for materials, which I've done right now. Next, I'm going to click on the footer menu at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to add two things or three things. The first one is a field for my signature. And you can see here now that the invoice has got two fields for the signature. And oh, sorry, it keeps doing this. Next, I'm going to add some comments. So if I wanted to, I can add a comment for all of my invoices, or I can add specific comments for different invoice types. But I'm going to go ahead and create a generic one for my customers. Yeah. It has been a pleasure serving you. And save those. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some terms and conditions. So let's see. Let's just write something generic like for full terms and conditions, please visit our website at www.pcs.com.au/terms. Done. Okay, amazing. So now if I preview the invoice that I've just updated, you can see that on all my documents moving forward, they will contain the comments, terms and conditions, and a field for the signature. And how are we doing for time? Okay, not much time left. Okay, now I'm going to quickly brush over some of the other functionality that we have on this builder. So you can adjust the language that displays on the invoice if you wanted to. And you could also change some of the custom labels on the invoice. So you can see here that I've changed the quote terminology to show pro forma invoice. And then on some of the other fields, if I go into document summary, I can also change, I guess, like the default labels that display for these particular labels here. Going back into general, I'm going to go ahead and quickly change this code to product ID and quantity to, and that's, yeah, I don't need that anymore. Okay, so that's pretty much the template process. So now if I go back to my invoices and I click on create, if I preview the template now, it's got all the details that I need to display on the invoice. And I don't need to enter it individually every single time that I create one. They are now there by default. Okay, so that was the template, that was the invoice template builder. So now I'm going to show you some of the changes that we've made to the invoice creation and management flow. So jumping into a previous invoice that I've created, you can see here that there are two screens. And what we've done is that we've split apart the invoice creation screen and the management screen into two separate screens. And the reason why we've done this and we've made these changes is because there were some key challenges with the previous experience. Previously, everything from the edit to the management actions, it was all on one screen. It was all on a single screen, and this created a bit of clutter, and it was hard to navigate through that process for a lot of our users. I mean, people did find ways around it. As humans, we're incredibly adaptive to our surroundings, but we wanted to provide a bit more focus on the task at hand, and we felt that splitting the experience into two separate screens would provide that focus. So on this screen, on the invoice edit screen, this is where you pretty much do the majority of your activity, where you create the details of your invoice. So, I can add in, who I'm billing it to, the details or the actual materials and parts of the job at hand. I can also add in the payment terms, so I can adjust, the due date of the invoice. So 30 days is standard for me. And then I can also add in the payment methods as well if I wanted to. Once you're done editing, I guess, the meat on the bones of the invoice, I click on save on the top right. And I can also preview the invoice if I wanted to. Clicking on next will take you to the document management screen. And this is, I guess, this is the screen where you would do, typical activities to manage your invoice. For example, I can record a payment. I can charge a credit card if my customer has provided those details to me. I can also mark it as fully paid. I've got more options to print, copy, export as PDF, and even sign the invoice if I wanted to. As you can see here, I've already signed the invoice with my signature. And and pretty much once you're ready to send the invoice, I can click on send and choose one of the three options to send my invoice to my customers. We've also added the preview in here as well. So clicking on this preview button will also bring up the full preview in case you want to do some spot checks to make sure all the details are correct. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and send this invoice to John Doe. And one other little unknown fact is that if you really wanted to, you could also attach additional documents on this email, but I'm going to go ahead and send this straight to my client. Okay, done. And that is the invoice creation and, excuse me, management experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showing us that. If you have any question, everyone, then please leave a comment now and we can answer them for you. We do have some questions that came in while you were presenting. One is from Giovanna, and she says, are you able to have 2 different types of invoices with different logos for 2 different companies?
Well, that's a great question. So I believe you can create 2 accounts and then link them with the same user. So if you wanted some steps on how to do that, you could get in touch with our support team and they can direct you on how that can be done. But I'm pretty sure you can. I have done it before in the past when I've been testing different things on the platform. So yeah, it would be a matter of creating 2 different accounts and then linking them with the same user.
Oh, great. Well, maybe we'll do a demo of how to do that as well in the next couple of weeks, because that sounds like something that would be quite of interest. And then we had another question from Mark, and he wanted to know when he invoices and emails them to clients, they often end up in the spam folder. And I actually reached out to our support team because I wasn't sure if this is something that you might know, Peter, and they said that that this commonly occurs when a custom domain and small email providers are the recipient of the invoice. So they tend to have stricter spam folders, but they do have some tips on how to stop this from happening. So if you DM Invoice2go on Facebook, or you can email support@invoice2go.com, then the support team will be able to connect you with the team that can help you with that issue, Mark. So yeah, we can definitely sort that for you. Oh, another question from Giovanna. At the moment on my invoices, I have subtotal and total. How do I add GST inclusive?
GST inclusive. So yeah, I believe as you're adding in your items to the invoice, you can select whether that particular item is GST inclusive or not. But I'm actually not quite sure if you can apply it at the entire invoice level. I'll need to double check that and get back to you, Giovanni. If you provide me with your email address, I can get back in touch with you and just confirm that with my team.
Okay, we'll send you a DM and sort that out. But thank you for those great questions. It's really interesting to see how you're using the app and how you'd want to have more easier features. We really welcome to hear your ideas and your questions for how things could be improved for your experience. So I think we say this every time we do a demo, and I want to reiterate it again. If you have any suggestions for features, we love to know them, and please do leave us a comment.
Yeah, just quickly, I've just jumped on my phone, and if I can just show you how that can be done, it can be done.
Yes.
So let me just go back to doing this really quickly. Live demonstration. Here we go. Okay, great. So this is the invoice creation screen. I can just tap on this GST field below the total, and I can select whether it's going to be exclusive or inclusive. And that should properly update the totals on the invoice.
And depending on your territory, say if you're in the US or in the UK, then those tax rates will be applicable to those countries.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these tax rates can also be adjusted as well to your needs.
Awesome. We've got another question from Justin. How can we attach terms and conditions? We used to be able to do that, and your update a while back got rid of it. Ah, well, Peter?
Yeah, Justin, yeah, so you can add the T's and C's through the invoice template builder that I showed. If it was previously done better or differently, I'm more than open to to getting in touch with you and to understand how it used to be done. I personally am not familiar with the previous method of that specific functionality. But you know what, after this call, if you want to get in touch or if you want to touch base, I'm more than happy to jump on a call with you. And then we could discuss how that used to work.
Yeah, awesome. So at the moment, you can basically put a link to your terms and conditions from within the invoice, but it's not an attachment.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Great. Are there any more questions that you guys have? We'll be happy to answer them. Or if you're not watching this live and you're actually watching the replay, then also feel free to comment, because we will always jump on and answer your questions in here as well. Cool. Well, I don't think we've got any more questions from anyone right now. So thank you so much for your time, Peter.
No worries.
It's great to chat with you and have that demo. We'll be bringing you lots of more product and app demos as we get more features and help you guys to use the functionality even better. So thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks, Sylvie.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thanks, guys. Bye.